It's time for the longest-running student show on KLPR, Throwin Lopes. Let's send it to the KLPR studios for your one-stop shop for all things Loper Athletics.
Welcome in to Throwin Lopes for the, I don't know how many weeks it's been, time for the season, semester. I'm Traeton Harimon, Ethan McCormick, Jon Willis, the ghost of Alex Hammeke. Happy to be bringing you the longest-running student show on 91.1.
So Alex broke a door? That's why he's not here?
Alex broke a door, but that's not what's important. You know what is important? Who is the most likely to fall asleep on a road trip?
I hate this poll.
You have approximately an hour left to vote on our poll, KLPR911, on Twitter. Who is the most likely to fall asleep on a long road trip? Someone's running away with it last night.
They are, yeah. But, again, another lack of votes poll, so let's get on it, people.
Yeah, let's get rolling. Let's get rolling.
That's a deep sigh, bro.
Yeah.
Let's get rolling.
We missed you, by the way.
Thanks.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah, the ATL changed me.
I had a song.
What's the area code of the ATL?
I couldn't tell you.
You're straight out of the...
Straight out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. You have to know the number.
Straight out of the...
The 404.
That's kind of cool. Straight out of the 404. I was there for a week. I'm changed. Don't know what to think of myself.
You look
I
pretty
look in the
similar.
mirror. I don't know who it is anymore.
You popped into class last Friday. I thought, is that Traeton Harimon? I thought there was a man amongst someone else out there in class. I didn't know it was you.
You know what else there was? There was a man amongst boys on the football field this weekend when the UNK took
That's a
on
good
Lincoln.
transition.
Because UNK back in the win column after just dropping 4 straight, winning 38-6 over the Blue Tigers of Lincoln University. Lopers 3-7 on the year, 2-7 in MIAA play, as Lincoln is no longer a member of the MIAA in football for the season.
Yeah, the biggest thing for the Lopers this week was just wanting to send the seniors out the right way, and I think they did that. A lot of seniors had very good performances for the Lopers, and really like to quote that Coach Held said, a lot of these seniors probably aren't going to get the credit that they deserve for what this season has been, because obviously the record isn't what they've wanted it to be this season, but they helped lay the foundation. They turned this program around with the last coaching staff and have gotten things started here with Coach Held and his staff, so it was really good to see the seniors go out. Obviously, TJ Davis had a huge game, 230 yards through the air with 3 touchdowns, with 17 for 19. He had 168 yards through the ground, 2 touchdowns. Armani Webster, another senior, had an interception. Hunter Krause had a booming punt of 46 yards. Seb Foster, another senior, 4 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. So a lot of great senior performances. That was good to see.
Yeah, I think this is a good way to send out the seniors, way to put on for the home fans in the final game of the year. Good momentum builder going into Northwest Missouri State week.
Yeah, thanks for joining the show, Alex. Good
Yeah,
to
a
have
little
you.
late, but I think this is... I think this is good momentum going into Northwest Missouri State week, who's 5-4. They're having a little bit of a down year, but yeah, this is a good performance for the seniors. Way to go out. TJ Davis outrushed the Lincoln Tigers, pretty much outplayed their whole offense just by himself. So yeah, this is a pretty good way to go out, and this was a good senior day.
Game ball to the Blue Tigers kicker, 2 for 2 on the day. Put the Tigers on the board, avoid the shutout. I've been disappointed in the Lopers this year, and I think, we all have been, and I think that goes back to the team too. And you have to remember, they're disappointed too. That was kind of something that opened my eyes. I was like, I've been disappointed with this team, but so is everybody else, and so are the players. So it was good to see them finally start putting things together. It gave me some optimism for the future.
Yeah, and it should. I think sometimes that people looking in on the outside forget that it's not like the team wants to be losing. This isn't a coaching staff that's coming and they're like, "Ooh, I want to go 3-7." Nobody's been happy about how the results have been, but going to practice, seeing how the guys are still bringing the energy, wanting to go out there and put a good product out on the field, it's very optimistic to see.
Job's not finished. You still got one more game against a really good Northwest Missouri State team, a game that you could really cap off your season with a win on the road, especially it's their senior day. That would be a really big exclamation point on the 2023 season.
And to add to that, that's the Northwest Missouri State team that's been on lowered expectations than what they came into. You got them right now. They're no longer in the rankings. They've been a team that's been in the rankings since 2003. They're not in playoff contention. They're going to miss the playoffs for the first time since 2003, I believe. And then you look down the road, 10th Street Tech, commonly known as Missouri Western, their main rivals, they're in the playoff hunt. And there's a lot of frustration down there in Maryville. And I think you could go in there and play spoiler, and you could sneak in there quite easily, I think. Sneak in there, get a victory, and that's the big thing right now for UNK.
I think it would be awesome because TJ Davis came on the map because of a performance that he had against Northwest Missouri back in 2019. I would love to see life come full circle and TJ Davis ends his career with a big win and a big performance against Northwest Missouri. This time, ruining their senior day on the road.
Yeah, I mean, the guys are going to be fired up for it. I know Coach Held has been looking forward to this one, because, again, no matter what happens, the record is still going to be a couple of games under 500, but they want to send it out the right way and then get into the offseason and start looking at what went wrong and what needs to be changed for next year.
Yeah.
So let's look at Loper football, and as their season comes to an end this Saturday on the road at Northwest Missouri. Kickoff set for 1:30 p.m. in Maryville.
Listen with the immortal one, Jason Jorgensen.
Brandon Bennett, who knows who he's rooting for in that press box.
He's rooting for both. He's rooting for both.
Yeah, this is the one Facebook post where he's like, "Happy game week to everyone." No, Brandon. Go Loper.
No, here's the big thing. Brandon's a member of the Northwest Missouri State Alumni Association, so this is the game where you really can't pick sides if you're Brandon Bennett. I mean, it was 2 years ago when we had the UNK Northwest Missouri feature before, on Thursday night, and I interviewed Brandon. And, what's it like going into that game? Your bachelor's is from here, your master's is from here, from Northwest Missouri, and then for the past 20, 30 some odd years of your life, you've been living in Kearney, Nebraska, working for UNK. So this is truly conflicting. You don't want to really anger anybody, and he's good friends with both college presidents. Let the man cheer for both teams in this instance.
Sounds like Brandon got his master's and couldn't wait to get out of Maryville, and he's proud to be a Loper. Brandon, if you're listening, if you're listening, Brandon,
you go where the jobs are. The job was in Kearney. It's that simple.
Okay, we don't need to break down Brandon Bennett's career.
Brandon, you do a great job. We love having you around. We're just messing with you. Up next, Loper Volleyball is going to end out their season this weekend, of the regular season, I should say, after getting a couple of wins last weekend on the road against Northwest Missouri, and I believe, it was Missouri Western.
Yeah.
Last
week. I thought you were previewing this week.
Loper's coming into this weekend, Friday, Saturday, ending out their regular season before the MIAA tournament against Missouri Southern in Central Missouri on the road.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because it very well could be for the MIAA regular season championship. It kind of depends because things get tricky with Central Oklahoma if they and UNK tie for conference record. But UNK, hypothetically, if they win both of these games, they would have the same conference record as Central Missouri if they win their Friday game as well. And they won both regular season matchups, so that would give them the tiebreaker. But I think a lot of people are looking to that last match with Central Missouri and UNK as the possible MIAA regular season championship game.
Big weekend coming up, but I don't think we can underestimate how big this last weekend was. You couldn't really overlook Northwest Missouri State. You definitely couldn't have overlooked Missouri Western. I think those are two massive wins, two big momentum-building wins. Going into another tough weekend on the road in Missouri, you got Missouri Southern, and then the big-time game November 11th against Central Missouri. Two big games this weekend. Like John said, this will set up the MIAA tournament. Lopers are in the MIAA tournament pretty much for sure. They're a lock to make it. There's no worries there. But this is a big time in terms of regular season. I think the Lopers can step up, and I think they can do it. We'll see if they can.
Can't overlook Missouri Southern. Lines took a set from UNK when they met here at the Health and Sports Center. So that's the big thing for me. Everybody's looking at Saturday. Everybody's priming up Saturday. Can't overlook Friday.
I feel like it's been forever since we got to see the Lopers play volleyball in person. It's kind of sad that they end their season on a 2-week road trip.
Well, the last home game
and then
was
they
Newman.
then they go to St. Joe, and they're
No
not going
offense
to
to Newman.
host Central Region. So it kind of sucks having to see this all from afar.
Another trip to Wayne.
How do we feel about the MIAA tournament being a region, like a central site instead of a home field advantage thing now?
I think with how
it's
transparent the
St.
league is,
Joe.
I think it makes sense.
It makes sense. It's just too bad.
Yeah. But no, I mean, obviously, it would be cool to have, especially with how competitive the Central region. So even if you have like one of your best seasons ever, you probably won't host in this region. But I mean, I like that it's in one location. That's how a lot of tournaments around the country are, and it just makes sense.
It's a good spot for it too. St. Joe's a good
yeah.
spot. Pretty much central for most of
Yeah.
the MIAA. So it's a good spot to have it. It would just be cool to host an MIAA tournament as the 1 seed.
And on top of that as well, you look at the MIAA, they're always trying to get every national championship event taking place within the MIAA area. St. Joe has been working with the Civic Center and trying to build that up. I believe they'll be actually hosting the Elite Eight here in the near future. I believe 2026 and 2027. Cross country is going to be hosted down in Joplin at the Tim Rutledge cross country course in a couple of weeks on November 18th. In a lot of, you can bring as many as you can. Previously, the league also hosted football at Children's Mercy Field, home of Sporting KC, before Sporting KC was like, no, you're tearing up our turf too much. We want it for soccer. Get off. And then they sent it down to a high school field in Texas. But that's, I think, kind of more you build it up at the league level, and then once you have it at the league level, you can be like, here, this is what we have as our body of work. Please think of having the volleyball tournament here in St. Joe. I think that's more the MIAA looking at a national level more than anything.
Back to UNK volleyball as an entity. Regional rankings came out on the 5th. The last time it was just kind of announcing the regions. This time the actual rankings in region came out. UNK currently sitting at 4th in the Central region behind number 1 seed Wayne State, Concordia St. Paul, and Southwest Minnesota State in that order. Central Missouri right behind them. Central Oklahoma, Minnesota Duluth, St. Cloud State, Winona State, and Northern State round out the top 10. UNK also kind of stuck at the number 10 spot in the AVCA poll, but that doesn't really matter anymore at this point.
And it's worth mentioning in that Central Region poll, the Great American Conference also gets an automatic qualifier bid, but they're such a terrible league when it comes to volleyball. I'm not mincing words here, they are. They will get their automatic qualifier in there, and that will knock out the number 7 more than likely. So, they'll knock out one of those teams. So one team that's in there and would be technically in there will not because of that Great American spot.
Top 3 teams are from the NSIC. That is a very tough volleyball conference. That has got to be one of the most brutal volleyball conferences, and we play in the most brutal central or the most brutal region rankings possible. Central is probably the toughest in Division II. So many tough teams: Wayne State, Concordia, St. Paul, yada yada. You can go down the list. A lot of tough teams.
I think the Lopers are lucky that Central Missouri struggled so much in non-conference play because the Jennies have really gotten things going in conference action. If they had played that way all season, there's a chance UNK probably would be a little farther down that list. And so I think that was a pretty good break for the Lopers as well, the fact that the Jennies struggled so much to start the season.
And when you think about it, last year, UNK was the bubble team. They were the last team that technically got in the rankings. So this MIAA tournament, if you're UNK, you got to play your tail off, because if you have a Washburn that comes in and upsets everybody, they get the AQ spot, then all of a sudden you're either looking at Central Missouri or Central Oklahoma. Somebody gets bounced from it, and you don't want to be that team that finds themselves who thought they were in, but because they had a poor showing at the league tournament, they're out.
You compare this to the AVCA poll that came out earlier this week on Monday. Wayne State, Concordia St. Paul, Southwest Minnesota State, St. Cloud State actually a step ahead of Nebraska Kearney. Those 5 teams in the top 10 in the country. So once again, stacked Central region. Lopers have got to play their tails off in the MIAA tournament to avoid sneaking in or even getting ousted by a GAC team.
Traeton's trying to audition for the new MIAA mailbag report here. What are we doing?
I mean, I graduate in May.
Is
I
this
graduate
so
in
does
May.
he.
Is this the DLC for the MIAA mailbag?
Just rankings. No, it's not a DLC. It's telling you
yeah,
that
that's
the
what the mailbag is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it feels like a DLC.
Any more?
I got stuff. I got stuff. Don't worry.
Any more thoughts on Loper volleyball as a Loper volleyball segment?
No.
Lopers got to play their tails off these last couple of weeks before they head into the postseason, trying to get that spot in that NCAA Central Region tournament. And they hit the road this last weekend for their last slate of regular season games down in Missouri. What's up next? What do we got at this point?
Cross country.
Swimming, cross-country.
Let's start with swimming. Swimming winning their own.
Aqua Lopes.
Winning their. They don't do that anymore. They don't call themselves the
That
Aqua
is
Lopers.
not true.
That- yeah,
Peter,
they
put,
do?
Peter
Yeah,
puts
they do. They 100%
Aqua
do.
Lopers win lone home
Yeah,
See,
week.
on their roster, they
Wow.
went from Aqua Lopers to just UNK swimming and diving. So
Well,
we got to get
for
some consistency.
uniformity, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
They're
but-
okay.
still
They're
Aqua
referred.
Lopers
They're,
is
they're
so much
referred as
better.
by both. They're referred by both.
Okay,
Aqua
so
Lopes in my heart.
I'm a big Aqua Lopes guy. I just thought they quit using it.
You didn't even know they were called Aqua
I thought they
Lopes.
quit using it. They changed everything. They changed the brand. You got to stick to the brand. Lopers win their only home meet of the season, it looked like, because the spring came out and didn't look like there was anything at home. There might be something in there that I missed. But Lopers win it over, oh, man, I don't remember who it was. It was against Colorado State University, Pueblo, Augustana,
Yep.
and then a couple of NAIA teams in there as well. They
Midland.
won it pretty good. Their relay team came out in the last set and kind of took it away from them against CSU Pueblo.
Yeah, like you mentioned, they were down headed into that final event, and because of their performance in that final event, they were able to do it. But it was good to see Lopers lost to Colorado State Pueblo earlier in the season, and so it was good to see the Lopers kind of bounce back and get a win against them this time. And again, it was impressive because UNK only won 2 total events, but because of how many 3rd, 4th, 5th place runner-up finishes they had, that's why they were able to take home the big dub.
Yeah, Carly Bennett had a good day in the 100 butterfly, and she finished 3rd in the 200 fly. Maggie Wells was runner-up in the 400 individual medley. McCook sophomore Cheyenne Parlier, I believe I'm saying that correctly, and Lauren Carlson were the lone divers in the meet, and they both won the 1 meter and the 3 meter. And so, yeah, they had a pretty good weekend, respectively. They go down to Oklahoma, I believe, for the Eagle Invite this next week.
That's in Edmond, Oklahoma Christian.
Anything you have to say about swimming?
No.
All right, so swimming makes a splash, gets their first win of the season.
That's hard.
They head down to Edmond this weekend for another meet as they continue their fall season. Up next, cross country, men and women both in action down in Joplin, Missouri for the Central Regional. Lopers ended up with 2 all-region runners in Miles Bach and, oh my goodness, don't do this to me. Nick Abdallah. I literally just did this yesterday. I feel so bad. Nick Abdallah and Miles Bach, the 2 all-region runners for the Lopers in that event.
Men finished 6th, the women 14th. Top runner, you mentioned Abdallah finished in 13th. Bach was in 18th. On the women's side, Grace Bonsall was the top finisher, finishing in 50th.
So the top 25 make the all-region team. So Miles Bach and Nick Abdallah, congratulations for being named all-region runners. What else do we have? That's
We got to preview basketball.
Basketball now.
starts
We got
this
love
weekend.
Loper basketball on wherever you listen. Find your Loper basketball these days. Hopefully it's right here, 91.1 FM KLPR. The men get things started on Friday. Jon Willis will be down there getting a little long road trip to take on the Southern Nazarene team down in
The Southern
Nazarene.
Nazarene.
it's the Crimson something.
Crimson Storm.
The Crimson
Down in
Storm
Bethany.
of Southern Nazarene on Friday for their regular season opener. Jon Willis, let's preview that one.
Yeah, it's a kind of an interesting matchup because they're both very different teams than what they were last year. Lopers bring in 5 transfers, 3 freshmen, headlined by DeAndre Samuels, who was the 2023 Colorado Gatorade Player of the Year. But 2 key injuries for the Lopers. Demiri Lindo, who the Lopers thought might be one of their best forwards this season, he will be out, along with Donovan Short, who was that big center from the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. Short injuries, they should be back by the time the Lopers come home, but they will not be playing against Southern Nazarene, so those could be some key injuries, especially because you thought finally had some size, which was something the Lopers were lacking. You lose that for the opening game. And then for Southern Nazarene, they finished 27-5 last year. They made it all the way to the Central Region Finals and then lost everybody. They bring in 8 transfers, 3 freshmen, a brand new head coach. Their leading return, they have 2 returners that saw minutes last year. One didn't really play. The other one, Ian Mowat, played 23 games, only averaged 5 points. So it's 2 teams where you got to see it to see what they're going to be about. It's kind of an interesting matchup, but Lopers without those top 2 guys, it's going to be tough.
It'll be really tough. I just want to highlight that the Lopers were picked to finish last in both the coaches and the media poll coming into this season.
Whiteboard.
They've got the opportunity to prove a lot of haters, a lot of doubters and people wrong. They can only go up from that preseason poll, and I think they'll surprise some people. I think they'll be a lot better than people think they will be this year. They've got a lot more depth. They can go deeper into that bench. They got size. Hopefully they can stay healthy. Health is going to be the biggest key for both the women and the men's teams this year. If they can stay healthy, I think they will be a better basketball team than they will last year. Granted, they're starting not healthy, but I think they have the opportunity to get healthy throughout the season, stay healthy, and I think they could surprise and upset some of these MIAA teams when we get into conference play.
Both teams trying to find themselves to start off this season. Southern Nazarene, they went over a head coaching loss, as John, you had mentioned. Adam Bohawk, who was previously with the Crimson Storm, he's now in the MIAA. He's with Central Missouri. And now you've got a whole new team in Central Missouri, much like UNK, a lot of transfers. You've got to gel really quick with these kids, because if you find yourself 3-4 games in, you have a team that's complete, you could, find yourself making a run. If you find yourselves as 5 individual players on the basketball court who just happen to be on at the same time and you're not a team, that's where, the Lopers will lose games. And unfortunately, that's kind of where we lost a couple of games last year, I think. Because we had it in the first half, and in the second half, we all of a sudden kind of went,
Yeah, I was in the first half, not going to lie.
I mean, the first half was really good. The first half, you were close. You look at, I believe it was Rogers State. Rogers State within 5 with Rogers State last year. You're within 10 of Northeastern State. You're within, a few points for some of these really close matchups. And then the second half, you fall on your butt, and you find yourself down 25, and it's a 25-30 point loss in a couple of these matchups. UNK has to figure out how to finish strong in the second half. As you had mentioned, healthy, and that's going to be a big priority. I think strong second half is going to be another big priority for this Loper team.
A lot of new faces, but I think the Lopers are the team that people are sleeping on. This is a team that, this is a sleeper team in the MIAA. You bring in DeAndre Samuels, which we've talked about this before, a huge get for Kevin Lofton, and a massive get. He was a Gatorade Player of the Year back in Colorado from Denver, Colorado. Huge get. He's going to be massive. He's really got to get going pretty quickly. He's got to adjust to college basketball almost within that first game, within the first minutes he sees on the floor. But I think, you've got playmakers, you've got difference makers on this team, but you also got veteran leadership. Winston Cook, Ryder Kirsch, Sean Evans. These guys are going to have to step up and be a little bit of that leadership role for these guys who are coming in from, you got that 6'10" from Green Bay. You've got a lot of different faces, a lot of returning faces, new faces coming in. I think this could be an interesting season for the men.
Again, not having 2 of your 5 starters game 1 is going to be tough.
That hurts.
Depth at the guard position was one thing that Coach Lofton really excited about. Also, Traeton King, another guy to look out for. He was first team All-Region at North Idaho College. Shoots lefty. He can knock down some trays. So excited to hit the road tomorrow.
You can catch Jon Willis with all the action on 93.1 The River as the Lopers take on the Crimson Storm of Southern Nazarene down in Bethany, Oklahoma to start their regular season. John, any more thoughts on the Lopers before you hit the road tomorrow morning?
No. Excited to get down there. 106.9 in Kearney. Pre-game beginning at 6:15.
And anywhere in the world on KRVN.com. On the way next, Loper women's basketball had their season start last Monday, kind of, in an exhibition against Traeton. That went the way kind of expected to go. It's an exhibition game, which is good competition for the Lopers to start their fall season against. And now they head up to Marshall, Minnesota for the NSIC MIAA Challenge to take on Minnesota Crookston and Southwest Minnesota State. They will not overlap with any MIAA teams while they are in Minnesota because of conference play rules.
You look at Minnesota Crookston, Southwest Minnesota State, neither team that was all that impressive last year. And this is a very good opportunity for the Johnsons to kind of play around a little bit more with that roster, because you kind of have your starting 5 set, I would think. Mm-hmm. You know who has the potential to play. You kind of also know who needs to see a little bit more practice time out of your newcomers. I think Jordan Sears is definitely going to be a player who can step up right off of the bench as a freshman. I was really impressed with her against Traeton. I think she can be a difference maker early on for a freshman, and albeit I don't know who all the rest of the league brought in, but so far she would be the MIAA nomination for Freshman of the Year for the MIAA. At least UNK's nomination. I don't, talk to me in February about who I think is going to be Freshman of the Year for the conference, but UNK's nomination, I think, is going to be Jordan Sears. health is the big thing. You lose one player off of this starting five, you might be in a world of hurt. And that's, you lose Trinity Law, or you lose Lexi Mose, or you lose Meg Burns,
Shiloh.
Yeah, or Shiloh. You're going to be in, and I think you might be in a world of hurt. So you got to, health is the biggest priority, and then just, one day at a time, really.
Let's not focus on the what if. Let's focus on what excites us about this roster that we have coming into the season. Because a lot of things are going to happen throughout the season. But what gets you excited after watching that Traeton game in person? What did you like about what you saw out of the Lopers and first-year head coach Drew Johnson?
I think Kaya Wilson impressed. She exceeded expectations. The transfer who played at D1 but had dealt with some injuries, maybe didn't know how she was going to be, but I think she was really good. Jillian Ashoff, she's not going to have the size that a lot of guards do, but she plays really tough. She's really speedy. Just got to get a little more confidence, I think, in the three-point shot. But you know that Trinity and Shiloh are going to be a big part, but the big key for the Lopers this year is that sophomore class, that redshirt sophomore class that didn't get a lot of minutes last year but was in the program. That group especially is going to have to be the one that steps up. We've seen good things from them. We've seen struggles from them. They're going to have to be that group that steps up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be their ability to crash the boards and get open shots. They did it really well against Traeton. They crashed the boards really nice. I think they also were a lot better on defense than we thought going into that game. I think this could be a really complete team at times. I was impressed with Kaya Wilson, her ability to get to the paint. She finishes with both hands around the rim. Great rebounder, too. I think Bailey Sobchak is also going to be really good. She came off the bench, provided really good minutes. I think this is a good team. They can go deep. I think this is a team that can go 8, 9, 10 girls deep. I think that's really exciting for Drew Johnson and this coaching staff, and I think it should be a good season.
Kind of what I said previously there with Jordan Sears. I really like what I saw out of her. And as you'd mentioned, Ethan, with Sobzak, I think she'll do a really good job as well. The development of that sophomore class, redshirt freshmen, I guess, as it's athletically named, with Macy Bryant and Bailey Kissinger, Bailey Egan. Of course, she was injured last year, so more of her redshirt freshman year that might even have been a medical redshirt year for her even because of her injury. But it was an ACL tear last year.
Yeah, she tore it.
Then you've got Jensen in there as well. So you've got some good development you could see out of this redshirt freshman class here.
Josh is tuning. My dad's tuning into the big show today. He's left a comment. Appreciate you tuning in, Dad.
Yeah, hey.
Appreciate it.
Who's Pat McAfee?
Not possible without Traeton Harimon.
Who's Pat McAfee?
Even though he loves doing it.
I don't know. All I know is Throwin Lopes.
To piggyback on what Alex said with the development of this young team, you get a favorable schedule to start the year to help with kind of the meshing of that. You get Minnesota Crookston, you get Southwest Minnesota State, two teams that you handled well last year. Obviously not the same team in any way, shape, or form, losing your 3 out of your top 5 scores. But then you get NAIA Central Christian, D3 Nebraska Wesleyan, and then another NAIA school, College of St. Mary, before you get your another D2 game all the way on the 25th at home against Chadron. So I think the Lopers have a good opportunity to start the season on a high note, get the meshing early, and find a group that is going to step up for the rest of the season.
You could really figure out where your team chemistry's at and what starting lineups and what rotation's going to work, within these first 5 games. I think you'll really get a good fit for the season within these first 5 games.
So that's a look at Loper women's basketball, and they start the season on the road this Friday at Minnesota Crookston. First tip at 3 p.m. at the Northern Sun versus MIAA Challenge. Then they come home Tuesday to take on Central Christian, the NAIA school out of Kansas, also going through a transition under first-year head coach as well. You can catch that right here on 91.1 FM KLPR with myself, Traeton Harimon, and Graham Kalant on the color. Pregame starts at 5:50 once again on Tuesday night from the Health and Sports Center. Well, that's a look around the horn at Loper Athletics, and I think you know what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, start your timers, rev your engines, get ready
Go to your bathroom
for the best MIAA, NCAA segment in all of college radio. Alex Hammeke with our MIAA mailbag. Take it away, sir.
Well, funny enough, I don't have any NCAA Division II news to discuss today, but I do have some rather important news. Today is the first day of Collegiate Sports Communicators Member Appreciation Week, CSC, formerly known as COSIDA, and the sports information directors in this conference, undervalued, underappreciated, underworked, and overworked, I should say, and underpaid. You look at the people who I've worked with in the conference between Gene Cassell from Washburn. You've also got in there Fort Hayes' Ryan Prickett. You've got Don Wiest at Emporia, Chris Brannick at Central Oklahoma, Derek Zimmerman-Geyer at Missouri Western, and our own Peter Yazvik. The MIAA is very blessed to have a lot of really good sports information directors at the members' schools, and that doesn't even include what Brenna Wynn does at the MIAA office level. For those of you who are listening, a lot of what we do is, in a lot of the cool, crazy stats that we're able to provide, more than likely were researched by a sports information director. So, a lot of what we do is thanks to them, and wanted to start off the MIAA mailbag today by thanking the sports information directors for all that they do to make us sound good. Ethan, I'm sure your mom says hi back. Let's take a look at the regional rankings for football and volleyball. Well, you waved at the camera. I assumed your mom was texting you hi. Let's take a look at the regional rankings, shall we? And in the Super Regions 1, 2, and 4, the number 1 seed is Slippery Rock in Super Region 1, Benedict in Super Region 2, and Colorado Mines in Super Region 4. Super Region 3 this week had a bit of upheaval. That's after Pittsburgh State fell to the Missouri Western Griffins. The undefeated Harding Bison of the Great American Conference take the number 1 spot. Previously, they were number 2. Grand Valley State's the number 2. Pittsburgh State falls to the number 3. Central Missouri is 4. Ferris State is 5. Washita Baptist is 6. Missouri Western is 7. The top 7 teams make it into every Super Region, but Missouri Western, who sits at the number 7, might get screwed out of the playoffs. The reason why is because of the earned access rule from the NCAA. It's another reason why I say that the league and the conference and everything involving the NCAA is inept. And the reason why is because the University of Indianapolis and the Great Lakes Valley Conference, who just lost to a under 500 McHenry squad and looked absolutely abysmal this past Saturday, is at the number 9 spot. And if your league has only one representative in the top 10, but they're in the top 9, you get the automatic spot. So the earned access rule could give the University of Indianapolis a spot over an MIAA team. The same thing also happens in Super Region 1, where you could see New Haven come in, and they could take a spot potentially from East Stroudsburg. That's all that I have for football. Let's move on to volleyball. And the number 1 seeds in the Atlantic region is Gannon, in the East region Bentley, in the Midwest Missouri St. Louis, in the South the University of Tampa, South Central West Texas A&M, Southeast is Lander, West is Chaminade. Taking a look specifically at the Central region, number 1 seed is Wayne State of Nebraska, 2 is Concordia St. Paul, the Fighting Grant Ties, 3 is Southwest Minnesota State. Then after the NSIC logjam at the top, UNK at 4, Central Missouri 5, Central Oklahoma at the number 6. 7, 8, 9, and 10 go Minnesota Duluth, St. Cloud State, Winona State, Northern State. Now the top 8 seeds get in, but again, because you get an automatic qualifier, that would be the Great American Conference. They aren't listed at all in here. They'll go in, they'll get their butts handed to them in the first round, probably by Wayne State. Wayne State did it to an undefeated Harding squad last year. We'll see who the Great American Conference gives us this year for the mollywhopping of the ages. It's going to happen, guys. Let's just get that out of there. Looking towards the National Cross Country Championships, it'll be held at Missouri Southern. There's been the announcement for the qualifying teams and the individual qualifiers. Looking towards the team qualifiers on the women's side, Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern have qualified. Individually, Newman's Patricia Coma-Limo is qualified alongside Fort Hays State's Reagan Hodgson. On the men's side, Pittsburgh State and Northwest Missouri have both qualified. 4 qualifiers on the men's side for individual qualifiers. Central Missouri's Brian Matee, Washburn's David Cabet, Washburn's Donald Cabet, and Missouri Southern's Gideon Kitamari. The NCAA will live stream the 2023 Division II Cross Country Championships. They'll take place next Saturday, November 18th. Women's race begins at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, followed by the men's race at 12:15 Central Standard Time. And again, congratulations to Pitt State. Go Gorillas. My cousin Aaron runs for them. The final news bit that I have for the MIAA mailbag does have to deal with Pittsburgh State. The Gorillas are bringing in the women's soccer program starting next year. They have hired a head women's soccer coach. They have hired Wes Brandsetter, formerly the past 9 years an assistant coach at Oral Roberts University, including the past 4 years as the Golden Eagles associate coach. This would bring the MIAA to 12 member schools for women's soccer. That's all for my MIAA mailbag. Oh, wait a second. Congratulations to Missouri Western women's basketball. They defeated Division I Missouri State last Wednesday, so another Division II school knocking off a D1 school. That's the end of the MIAA mailbag this week. John, a much better time than last week, right?
By a minute and a half, still 5.5 minutes this week.
It's better than 7. We were at 7.5 last week, and y'all were like miserable. This is better, right?
I guess.
Just remember, I could drag it out longer.
I can mute your mic more.
Yeah, I'm aware.
On that note, we'll take a break. When we come back, it's time for Pick'ems and more here on the longest-running show. One more time, though, time to vote on a Twitter poll question. Who is the most likely to fall asleep on a road trip? And I'm pretty sure someone's still running away with it at this point. The votes aren't very high, so get out there, vote. KLPR 911 on Twitter. We'll take a break. We'll be right back here on 91.1 FM, KLPR.
91.1 KLPR FM, your student-run radio station at the University of Nebraska at Kearney, is your home for all home winter sports, including women's basketball.
It's a screen from Carlson, dribbles around her defender. Back to the corner to Burns. Burns, long three to end the quarter. Puts it through for the Lopers.
And men's basketball. Cook throws it ahead to Wilson. Wilson goes up, puts it down with the right hand. Slammer for Skylar Wilson. So tune in to 91.1 KLPR for all the winter sports action.
If you love writing and reporting, The Antelope could be the perfect place for you. The Antelope is a student-run newspaper at UNK, which has been publishing for 110 years. Even if you aren't a writer, they have spots for designers, photographers, and advertising staff. While working at the newspaper, you'll get great experience for future journalism jobs, all while getting paid. The Antelope is full of fun and hardworking students that provide fellow students, staff, and faculty with up-to-date events and news happening on campus. If you're interested in joining or want to see more of what they do, visit unkantelope.com.
Swimmers, take your mark. Wow, look at her stroke.
Yeah, she swims for the Loper Swim and Dive team. The Lopers are part of the RMAC Conference and compete in many locations throughout the Midwest and also host home events. Everyone should come and support the Lopers. They have meets in both the fall and the spring, so there are plenty of opportunities to see the team in action.
Whoa, I'm coming to all of the Loper swim meets now.
For more information, head to lopers.com.
Welcome back to Throwin Lopes on 91.1 FM, KLPR. Traeton Harimon, Ethan McCormick, Jon Willis, Alex Hammeke. Glad to have you along this Wednesday afternoon. And it's time for everyone's sometimes favorite segment. 2 ways to win. 1 way to win, 2 ways to lose. Jon Willis, take it away with the pick'ems.
All right, Ethan won the week last week, going 4 and 3.
Back weeks, fellas.
4 and 3, Ethan went. Myself and Traeton both tied, going for second with 3 and 4. Alex had a record with 2 and 5. We have a shift now in the standings. Traeton is still in first place with his record of 32 and 34. Myself, I am now in second with a record of 30 and 36. Ethan McCormick is now in third place with a record of 27 and 39, and Alex Hammeke has jumped into last place with his record of 26 and 40.
I'm happy I'm not in last no more.
What's the margin between third and fourth?
Honestly.
It's one between third and first.
Fourth.
1 game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's get into it. Big Big Ten game coming up this weekend. Michigan on the road, 5-point favorites at Penn State.
Give me the sign stealers and give me Michigan. They're going to cover, and everybody can crucify me. I don't care.
It's not whiteout, is it?
No,
that ain't
whiteouts are
whiteout.
night
This
games.
is a noon kickoff.
Boo.
I'm going to go Michigan cover, but reluctantly picking them
Why
to
this
cover.
is a reluctant pick.
I think Penn State keeps it close.
I think Penn State had their sign stolen 3 weeks ago.
I think Penn
Okay,
State does a.
see, the thing is...
This is the toughest game Michigan's played.
No, every
Here's
game that
the
anyone
thing.
loses, they're going to have their signs stolen.
Here's the thing. You really think that every single person, offense and defense, starters for Michigan knows exactly what they're going to do every single play?
No.
I think that's unrealistic to think of. I think that more teams do it than people think,
Yep.
and I think everybody's overreacting.
Yep.
I'll go first. Michigan is going to destroy Penn State.
I don't know about destroy. I think Penn State keeps it close.
It will be Michigan cover.
I think Michigan covers, but I think Penn State keeps it close for a while.
Michigan beat Indiana, by the way, 52-7. Penn State beat Indiana 33-24. That's kind of the one I'm looking at.
And I have comments about what Matt Rule said about the whole Michigan thing, like in the past week, that I will talk about later.
And Nebraska wasn't going to win that game whether they got their sign stolen.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. But he's over here like, yeah, we could have won that game, but then we got a shot. No, shut up, Matt. You weren't.
I thought he was more talking about the Minnesota game.
Whatever, who
like
cares?
It was
On to the
shot
next.
at Michigan.
Is that all the picks, John? Cool.
No. Utah is at Washington. Washington is a 9.5-point favorite.
I'm not first.
Washington cover.
I don't know on this one. All the others are pretty clear cut for me.
Washington cover.
I'm going to go Washington cover, too.
Wagon.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy for me, too. I think Washington could definitely make a run at it. Utah got blown out by Oregon, while Washington beat them. So that's one of the games that I'm really looking at. Tennessee is at Missouri. Little SEC battle. Tennessee is a 1-point favorite on the road.
Give me Missouri.
Whoa.
Missouri's at home, and they battled Georgia for about 45 minutes of that football game on Saturday. I'm going Missouri.
See, that's just how Georgia's won this year, though. They never play good first halves.
I've never been impressed with Tennessee this season, though. I have not been impressed with how Tennessee, they should be a lot more dominant than they are. I mean, they only beat Kentucky by 3. I mean, they did lose to Alabama. They only beat Texas A&M by 7.
But, hey, they beat Connecticut by 56.
Missouri beat Kentucky by
changer.
17. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Missouri's better.
Missouri beat South Carolina by 22. Tennessee beat South Carolina by 21. So this one really could go either way.
So it's a 1-point spread.
1-point spread in favor of
Tennessee.
it's going the opposite way, actually.
So I saw they didn't even give the home team the favorite pick.
For funsies, give me Missouri.
Alex?
I grew up in Kansas. Do you think I'm really going to pick Mizzou? No. Give me Tennessee, and they're not going to cover. No, they're going to cover. It's a 1-point
on a
spread.
1-point spread?
They're going to cover on a 1-point spread. It's that easy.
This game's going to end in a tie.
If it ends on a tie, I'm going to bang my head
Not
against
physically
the wall.
possible.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with Alex here, but yes, Tennessee will cover.
I'm smarter than I give myself credit for, John.
I think Georgia has just been an underperforming team in first halves this year, and that's why I think Missouri was able to keep it close. Speaking of Georgia, Georgia hosts Ole Miss. Georgia is a 10.5-point favorite.
Georgia, no cover. I like the way Jackson Dart plays, and like John just said, they have not really dominated at any point throughout the season, besides against mid-major.
This one's kind of the same way, a 1-touchdown
And then I said
win.
then I said that against Florida, and then they ended up dismantling Florida, so that's why I'm hesitant.
1-touchdown win over Auburn for both of these teams is the
Yeah.
So it's kind of this one.
It's a tough one.
Give me Georgia to cover.
I think it's a tough spread too.
That's kind of an interesting spread.
Alex, you say Georgia.
Georgia cover. Go Dogs.
Rawr. Wait, that's not dog.
That's there we go. You had a tiger first.
This one's
what do you got for us?
This one's tough. Wow, it is. Jackson Dart and Carson Beck have both thrown 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 2,000. This is literally the same two teams going against each other. You know what? My brain is telling me Georgia. My heart is telling me Ole Miss. Go Rebels.
Yeah.
Rebels.
That's kind of where
Ole Miss to just win outright?
Yeah.
Ole Miss to win outright.
I like Lane, but go Dogs.
I think what not a lot of people are talking about is Georgia has played a whopping 1 ranked team this year.
That's kind of the story.
They have had a cupcake schedule this year. Having said that, I don't think Ole Miss is going to be able to win on the road against Georgia. Give me Georgia, no cover. They will win close.
I like that pick.
USC is at Oregon. Oregon is a 16.5-point favorite I think we all know who's going to win this game, but I
just a
think it's
matter
a
of
tough
cover.
spread.
No, it's not a tough spread for me. Oregon doesn't really have a lot of things going wrong for them. USC just fired their defensive coordinator. They're going to be a bit astray on this Saturday. Give me Oregon, and they're going to cover.
Caleb Williams can go blow for blow with any quarterback.
He can, but he doesn't have a defense that's going to help him out.
But their
worth a leg.
their offense is still really good. I'm going to go Oregon, no cover. I think USC loses by, since it's 15, I think they
16
lose
and a half, yeah.
Or 2 touchdowns. I mean, I still think Oregon no cover is a decent safe pick.
Oregon cover. 17-point win for
It
the
is a home game
Ducks.
too at Autzen.
Quack.
Yeah.
Quack, quack, quack. I will pick Oregon no cover. I looked at USC. They only lost by 10 to Washington. Washington beat Oregon. They will keep it close because of their offense. Give me Oregon no cover.
Washington's a wagon.
Yes.
They're wagon.
I'm a big Michael Penix guy. He's
Big
the
Penix
Heisman.
energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maryland is at Nebraska. Maryland is a 2.5-point favorite on the road against the back to disappointing Big Red.
Here we go. I'm gonna disappoint a lot of people. I'm taking Maryland to cover.
You're not.
honestly.
No one's
yeah.
disappointed.
Okay, good.
That's a
Good.
good pick.
Good. Good. Thank goodness. I think Maryland covers. This offense is abysmal. It's so bad. This offense is just. It's.
We had a quarterback.
Oh my God! It's terrible. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Our defense is basically what keeps us in games.
No, it's not basically. It's they keep us in games.
Yeah, true. I mean, the offense isn't really worth a lick, unfortunately. I can almost assure you that when transfer portal time rolls around, Jeff Sims will be in it if he has any eligibility. I don't know at this point. I've kind of checked.
He does
out.
have a year
Who's
of
going to
availability.
pick him up?
I don't know.
Pick him up as a running back.
Or hey, there's always
Fumble
Lincoln.
boy.
There's always Lincoln. The Blue Tigers will need somebody to lead.
So
them
what's
into
your
the
pick?
GLVC. Give me Nebraska. But I'm not too thrilled with Nebraska on that pick.
Traeton?
I don't know what to say about this one.
I know.
It's
It's-
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is you got.
I saw a theory on Twitter. I'll let you say your pick real quick.
No, give the theory.
That Nebraska did not beat Michigan State, so we can clinch bowl eligibility in front of home fans.
That's stupid.
Love
I
that.
saw-
Give me the scores.
Hey, I disagree with that statement, but I'm just saying I saw that on Twitter.
You go for bowl eligibility when you can, when you're a team that has not been able to win
I'm just-
and has been as poor as
Okay.
Nebraska has the past 10 years.
Sea
it
of
doesn't
Red.
matter.
See, yeah,
Sea of Red wants to see a bowl.
Yeah, they're gonna
Give me the
flood-
Cornhuskers.
They're gonna flood Haymarket whether they would have won last
No.
week in East Lansing or whether they won on Saturday.
Maryland's
It's that
gonna
simple.
stomp them.
I
You guys are missing the big picture here.
What's the big picture?
They're not just blowing that game. They're going to lose every game
No.
so that they can host
No.
Iowa
No.
and beat their rival to clinch a bowl game.
That's even better.
Okay,
I like that.
Give me
actually.
Maryland,
Give me Maryland by
to cover.
26.
I hate that. I hate that theory, John. Because here's the thing now.
Wait, so do you actually want Maryland
I don't know
covered?
who I want. This is
I-
horrible.
As much as that'd be hilarious, John, I hate that idea. And the reason why is because you don't want it to go all the way up
Wait,
down
hold
to
on.
Iowa.
I love that idea. Imagine
Clinching a
on-
bowl game on Black Friday against your rivals, the Iowa Hawkeyes, who have dominated you, excluding last year. That would be
Corn
electric.
fully husked, baby.
Yeah, but you have you had an opportunity
Buttery.
against you'll have an opportunity against Indiana next week. If you don't,
Wisconsin?
Look at the
I thought we were
schedule.
playing Indiana.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Okay, you've got the opportunity still though against Wisconsin next week. You're not going to blow 3 games in a row. I don't think the fan base wants it to be coming down to Iowa on Black Friday. They don't care. When was the last time that Nebraska was in a bowl game? 2016.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't care whether you clinch it on Iowa or whether you clinch it on Saturday. You clinch the dang thing when you clinch the thing. And for Nebraska, you don't want the style points. You just want to clinch a bowl. And Merry Christmas. We've got it finally.
Traeton, what's your pick?
Coming from a Kansas State fan.
You know who else wants to clinch something? The winner of this week's Twitter poll question,
No.
which you can
But
vote
you
on
still need to
KLPR
make
911
What's
right
your
now.
question?
Answer. What's your pick?
Just pick. It's
Give me
pick one.
Nebraska. Why not? Actually, give me Maryland by 1.
Maryland no
28
cover is wild.
21-20.
Maryland no cover is crazy.
25-24, Maryland.
That's quite the.
2 safeties.
Okay, your picks and no turning back now.
No, it's Nebraska.
Nope.
You
Maryland,
picked.
no cover, baby.
I'm blowing that first place advantage right now.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Anyway, KLPR901 on Twitter. Who's most likely to fall asleep on a car ride? Still running away with it. It's not even close. Just pad the stats a little bit at this point. It'll
Yeah,
end
you
here in a
got
bit.
9 minutes left to vote.
I have no comment.
Can we pick a D2 game? Just pull a random D2 game out and we're going to pick it, John.
They don't do spreads for D2.
I don't care about
can
the
make
spreads.
it.
No. Okay, I got one. I got
We
one
could
this
do
week.
like Barstool Lopers and make up a spread for every game day post.
It's the Battle of the Ravine. Have y'all been?
I've heard of it. I forget who it is.
I love seeing a man who's passionate about.
Just
what
give
he
me the
talks
two
about.
teams I wanna pick.
I'm swooning.
Washita Baptist and Henderson State. That's truly what the Washita Baptist play-by-play guy sounds like.
Do that again?
Washington, no, and here's how he'll say it. Here's how he does a touchdown call. T.J. Cole, 21 yards to the land of milk and honey. T.J. Davis to the promised land. Touchdown, Washington Baptist. Touchdown, T.J. Davis. I just used T.J. Davis. Their running back last year was T.J. Cole, so go figure. But then, this is the game. Both schools are based in Arkadelphia. This actually is the game that kind of determines whether Missouri Western makes it into the playoffs. If Washita Baptist wins, Missouri Western gets snubbed from the playoffs thanks to the earned access rule, and University of Indianapolis gets in. If Henderson State wins, then Washita Baptist, who's right ahead of Missouri Western, gets down. They get trounced in the Central Region poll, and then all of a sudden Missouri Western moves up, and they'll be in the playoffs. If you haven't watched the Battle of the Ravine,
We're adding
with
this to the
Todd
NCAA
Knight-
mailbag time. This is the longest one of the season.
Wow, okay. If you haven't listened to the Battle of the Ravine with Todd Knight on the Washita Baptist Network, do so on Saturday. You will love
I
it.
already made my pick.
Okay,
Washington.
anyways, I'm going to...
Well,
yeah.
what are you celebrating, Jon Willis? What are you
What?
celebrating over there?
No, I'm about to tell you my pick because I found a good stat about
let's
this
go.
game. First off, Washita Baptist has a better record. Second off, Washita Baptist beat Oklahoma Baptist 55-14 last week. Earlier in the season, Henderson State only beat Oklahoma Baptist 27-14. Give me Washita Baptist to win.
Washington Baptist.
Give me Washita Baptist too. I
Elvis
really
Presley.
don't.
Traeton?
I already said, give me the. Why go win a football game, man?
Alrighty. If you haven't listened to a game with Todd Knight on the Washita
We already
Baptist
heard
Sports
this.
Network,
We already did this like 3 times.
the way that he ends the game when Washita Baptist defeats Henderson State,
Why are you giving away everything that he's going to say?
because it'll
How
get
would-
you to
no.
listen in on Saturday,
No,
John.
because you did the play-by-play already for
But
us.
I'm not the Todd Knight. But here's how he said, it's like, here at the end, it's, say good night, Reddies. And with that, it's going to be Todd Knight at the end saying, say good night, Reddies. Washington Baptist is going to win the football game.
Anyway, it's also
That was-
National Signing Day for D1 and D2 for every sport
Thanks for
besides
doing
football.
that, by the way, Traeton.
Sorry, I thought it was going to be fun.
It was until it wasn't.
It was until it wasn't. National Signing Day, UNK is announcing a couple of signings here throughout the day. Would have been nice to have a couple hours ago, everybody, but thanks. National Signing Day, congrats to all the new Lopers across all sports except for football. Can't wait to have you. I won't ever see you, but these guys will, so have fun.
Yeah, I think
Except
the
for Alex.
big
He'll be
one
here,
I
too.
saw for UNK, Alex Flattery was a signee from Sioux City, Iowa, so someone from around the state. That's really the only one I've seen.
I think that's one of their only signings so
That I've
far.
seen,
I haven't
yeah.
seen any other.
Did softball ever announce their signing?
No, I don't. I'm pulling
Uh,
up their page right now, but
They made
no.
a post saying
they
they're
just said it's
welcoming
signing
5.
day.
Yeah.
They're welcoming 5, but we don't know who.
Yeah. Well, so be on the lookout for Peter Yazbak's press release for everybody that signs today. Congrats to all the new Lopers on continuing your athletic career. Go Lopers. Alex and I won't be able to enjoy your success on the field,
Cheer.
court, but Jon Willis and Ethan McCormick sure will. How much time is left in the show? We still got 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
I do know a couple of the girls because they've liked tweets that have some of them in them. So Callie Ulvin from Blair, Jersey Schindler from Schindler. Oh, I butchered that.
You're
I'm
not allowed
sorry.
to read these
from
anymore.
Central City.
Wait, she committed for what sport? Softball?
Softball.
Yeah.
Oh,
You talk about her a little
that's
bit,
a
John.
huge get.
Solid pitcher.
That's a huge get. I thought she might have gone Division 1.
crazy.
If that's true,
she officially signed today.
No, she was. I mean, she's a beast. Through pretty much every inning for Central City.
She's got school records in hits in the game, hits in the season, doubles in the season, walks in the season, career doubles, career walks, no hitter, most wins in the season, career wins, career innings, career strikeouts.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Welcome to the Lope Show.
Welcome. Yeah, I gotta watch her in person. She's as advertised. So let's go. That fires me up.
For next year's softball team.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, I won't be there. Dang.
Next year's softball team? Yeah, you will.
2025?
I can't do math.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're behind me, big guy.
For some reason, yeah, I'm stupid. Okay.
Well,
anyways.
it's the fact that the high school softball season's already
In the
complete.
fall.
Yeah,
that throws me
that
off
threw
every
me
time.
yeah.
See, down south in Kansas, we have the softball season in the spring, but I hate that because I want it to be in the fall. There's a lot of things they do down south in Kansas that don't make any sense.
So let's not talk about them.
No, I'm going to talk. We have 6 minutes.
Yeah,
to
we have
fill,
6
John.
minutes. We can pass our time doing other and talking about other things.
Well, can I tell you about how I?
No.
Are you the host, Ethan?
I think the host also does not want to.
veto it.
Okay, you have 20 seconds to make your point.
Thank you. Keisha needs to use PowerPoints over their typical system. Previously, all that they do is just they just regionalize the way that they do the sub-districts. They need to add PowerPoints because they're screwing out teams that are good, and then you'll see losing teams that go into the state tournament get absolutely obliterated first round.
Ring-a-ding-ding-ding!
Thank you, Alex. You did undertime. Congrats. Proud of you. Good job. PowerPoints are big.
Yeah, they should be in Kansas too.
Thank you, NSAA. Doing the right thing. Is shot clock a choice this year for everybody now? Is that how that figured out to be? Like a choice for everybody below Class B? Like if you have you can do it?
I think that's right, yes.
Yeah.
Which is, it's got to be one way or the other.
It is, yeah.
But I get it because some of those smaller schools, you're not going to have the people or the resources to do that. But it's going to happen. I don't see any way that it's not. So I'm personally looking forward to it. I'm sick of the 40 to 43, Dawson County barn burners.
Yeah, it
get
is.
some high
What
scores.
about like the 15 to 12ers, John?
Oof.
Yeah, it's
Don't remind me.
It's on a game-by-game or tournament-by-tournament trial if schools agree and the NSAA staff approves. So I'd almost imagine schools submit the approval to the NSAA and it's just a rubber stamping.
I'm guessing by
whoever's in
next
the
year or the
office
year
that
after
day.
it'll be.
I would bet every single holiday tournament this year has a shot clock. That is
yeah.
probably the way it will happen. And then everything else will be business as normal because I am sure that nobody. Can you imagine they just like a week before state basketball are like, by the way, C and D, you guys have to use a shot clock now.
I'm guessing by next year it's going to be full time.
Yeah,
because they got it quick in A and B, so I think
and everybody loves it.
Yeah,
everyone's stoked about it.
Yeah,
No.
I remember that one Creighton Prep Benson district game where it was overtime and each team just held the ball for the entire period and then shot at the end, didn't make it, and that's why I kept going. So very glad this is a thing because that pissed me off.
I think we're going to still see the opposition in the Class D ranks because it's hard to find volunteers to run things as is. Then you got another thing you got to get somebody to volunteer for. But I think in Class C, C1, C2, I think it'll be easy. Maybe in some of those bigger D1 schools, but then when you get down to D2, when you're already consolidating 3 high schools as is to form a team, I think that's when it's going to get a little dicey. But at some point though, you just have to merge all the D2 schools. Unfortunately, it'll get to that point.
The Catholic schools Twitter would contradict you by saying if you have 3 schools joining together, that means you should have 3 times the staff. I mean, come on now.
Don't even get me started with that whack job.
I love that Twitter account.
I love it too.
Now we never hear from it again until basketball's over.
I want to know where they
hoping
were in softball season.
Or
there was
volleyball.
There was a bunch of Catholic schools. Why are you only supporting the football and the basketball? Come on now.
That's the
Let's
thing
show
that
up
got
for some
me
softball and some volleyball.
was because I was waiting for them to discuss Minden defeating the fact that Minden defeated Kearney Catholic. And the fact
Check
that
out my interview with Matty Camry, by the way.
On what? Where can I find that interview?
KRVN.com.
The fact that as well, you also had O'Neill St. Mary's ousted early, Grand Island Central Catholic ousted early. You had SEM, the 3 towns that merged together into this public school nightmare.
Lincoln Lutheran beat Clarkson Lee.
Yeah, again, another consolidation nightmare according to the Nebraska Spiritual Activities Association. Where were they at? They weren't anywhere.
I know. Like, you should show up for every sport.
I was
Come on
highly
now.
disappointed in them at state volleyball. Highly disappointed.
Agreed.
You know, however, what was hilarious at state volleyball? The Minden student section.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw my tweets at all.
Kind of.
But
There was a lot of them.
whenever Margaret Harburg was up to serve, the Minden student section started chanting, "We want Chubba." Now, the first time was Point Kearney Catholic because it was an overserve by Margaret, and then it went off the back of a Minden player's head.
Just like an overthrow by Heinrich.
Oh, they returned to the net.
Yeah.
But, they kept doing it, and every time Margaret was up, it was another Kearney Catholic point. Like, we get it. You don't like Heinrich as a quarterback. But every time you say it, you always lose the point. So maybe, stop.
Go Whippets.
road.
Congratulations on their first state title since 1980.
Also, congratulations to Overton.
Yep.
Yep.
Central
another
Nebraska
area team.
showing out
Yeah.
at all the way around.
Darn
Congrats
right.
to Gothenburg, third
and,
place.
SCM in the all Fort Kearney Conference barn burner over Amherst.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Central Nebraska.
That Gothenburg
we
Minden match was insane.
we won't see this out of Central Nebraska, I don't think, for a while. It's something that Buck Mahoney from the Hub had commented on. Is that the amount of talent that's in Central Nebraska right now is insane for volleyball. Hopefully, we see that also carry over into basketball. That'd be fun.
Should I go through the Twitter poll results?
Do we have to? Yeah, I'm joking. Go for it, Jon Willis.
Okay. Our question was, who is most likely to fall asleep as a passenger during a long road trip? Here are the results. Myself and Traeton finish in last place with 8% of the votes. Alex finishes in second place with
I'm not
23%
first
of the
for
votes.
once.
And the most likely to fall asleep as a passenger during a long road trip with 62% of the votes.
This feels
Ethan
good.
McCormick.
No comment.
This feels good. I'm not the one
Is
this
this a
time.
congratulations
Actually,
win?
I have something to contradict.
Oh, I know you have something to contradict me, and I want to thank the both of you for not bringing that up today.
I completely forgot about that. I'm kind
Yeah.
of disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
But the poll has spoken. The
No,
poll has spoken.
I should have tweeted out that picture.
Yeah, I don't know
of
why.
The poll
Alex,
has spoken.
I don't
Alex
have it.
flying. No, I'm bringing it up right now.
I don't know why
We
I
will-
won this poll.
We will show this to the people of YouTube.
Oh, you took that picture.
before-
That's why I don't have
Well,
it.
Yeah.
all I can
So-
say is this: the
all-
poll has
so-
spoken, fellas.
So just for context, all we were driving to was Lincoln. It's not like this was some long road trip, and Ford was trying to stay awake because it was very early in the morning.
It was like 6 a.m.
Yeah, all I can say is the poll has spoken, guys. Congratulations to Ethan for winning.
I will note that I'm glad John didn't win because driving back from Denver when we went to the Broncos game against the Green Bay Packers
Yeah.
and Denver Broncos, John stayed up the whole time.
I would also like to state that, 3 weeks ago, I made the trip all the way from Kearney to Champaign, Illinois. It's a 10-hour drive, and
I sure hope to God. Hold on. I sure hope to God you stayed up because you were driving.
yeah, I stayed awake the entire time. So I mean, that was 20 hours in two 10-hour trips, and I was awake the entire time. Sure, I got a little bit of help from Red Bull on one of
I'm
them,
balding.
but you're balding. You're balding.
All right, I think it's time to wrap
You
up
want
the
to debate
show.
balding, brother?
Well, thanks for listening, everybody, to another week of Throwin Lopes on 91.1 FM KLPR. For Jon Willis, Heath McCormick, Alex Hammeke, I'm Traeton Harimon. Have a great week. We'll be back here next Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m.
You're listening to KLPR 91.1 FM, Kearney, Nebraska.